You know what? The previous video, I forgot to mention the light switch and that thing there, because that's the whole reason I started the video. That I kind of went off on a tangent. So I gotta tell you about this here. So I came in here and I finished my project with taking off the receptacles or the face plates. So there's those are the screws that I gotta throw out. But I had trouble with this one here. For some strange reason, that screw right here, it's stripped and I can't get it to come out of there. So no matter what I do, it's stripped. So I got mad and I started hitting it with my knife that I'm using to take the screws out. And this thing broke right here. It fell off and it hit the ground like that. So I have to analyze that now. So what does it mean? Well, because it came down on the switch side, you see it there, that's a switch, and it's on the hardwood. The wood is a representation of the grandfather. So I remember telling the story a long time ago. I don't quite know how they would manage to pull this off, but basically, what I theorize they're trying to do is lock away our spirits, get me to commit sin, and then make my spirit, fall asleep, and then somehow, some way, through the purification of that I'm doing, like the running and the exercise and stuff like that, transform the evil grandfather, primordial sun spirit, into the new grandfather of all creation spirit. So that's a representation of what that switch means, because of the wood beside it. So they're like trying to switch grandfathers out because of the wood being connected to a hard on. Now that's a faceplate there, and there's one hole there, and then there's one screw hanging out of it. Okay, so the screw, that one is a representation of the grandfather, and that hole is a representation of the grandmother. So they're basically trying to replace both of them by getting me to commit the sin. And I would assume that these all of these here is a representation of that just being me. So there's 5 there, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so there's 9 there. And then there's a couple more over here. 10, 11, 12, 13. Well, that's my secret number, right? 13, 13. So these ones here, because they're located there, I would go with the 9. So those 2 there plus the 5 there and those 2 there, that's 9 lives. So in the past 9 lives, they've been getting me to purify that other grandfather spirit, and not really having enough time to do the running to purify my spirit. So there's basically 9 lives times 51 years of memories, which is 450 years, right? I think so. 450 years plus the first life that I was born, which is another 100 years. So that's 550 years. And then he has to make room for another life. So which would be, when they rewind time, it's like another life. So all of those memories have to be stored as electromagnetism in the black holes in the universe. So he's already eaten up basically 3/4 of his memories, because I haven't been afforded the opportunity to run. So this time around, though, because I'm not those by myself, I'm that there. That's a representation of me being the Alpha and the Omega. Right? So I keep saying that story. As much as I want to believe it, I have to be very cautious, because they could be telling me that story simply because Jaden is the weapon. Like, she is the grandmother, and if I don't get a hold of her in time, well, then she could become pregnant and create a black hole, which is their first line of defense. That's their first line of defense, meaning they expect her to become pregnant to create the black hole. When that happens, they don't have to come here and pretend to be gods and goddesses. So you'll notice here that this used to be my son's room. Noted. So noted means north wind. Okay, so north wind, because there's 4 walls here, 1, 2, 3, 4, is a representation of the 4 angels from Revelation who stand at the 4 corners of earth to prevent wind from blowing on earth, which is a representation of Gal Gadot's 4 daughters, and that family is trying to advocate on my behalf so that nobody blows hot air my way. So this here, because it's Noded's room, it basically means, like Gal Gadot. There's an association to it. So you'll notice here, he did this on March 11th. So there's a 2 there and a 1. So that's 3, 4. So that's a representation of you, Gal, okay, and your 4 daughters. That's my birthday. I was born March 10th. Okay, 1974. This just happens to be our 10th life. Okay, so that hole there, it can be a representation of a black hole, which in theory could be created by Jaden, right? If she harbors that element inside of her, she in theory could create a black hole. However, we now have to look at these screws here again. So if this is a representation of me being me all by myself, and Jaden being born and then having the ability to create that black hole because grandmother put her spirit in her to possibly allow that black hole to take place, to create the illusion that evil, can rely on that black hole, as their main primary weapon. And when that weapon doesn't fire, because if I'm successful in stopping, the black hole by getting a hold of Jaden and telling him to read the book, what's their backup plan? Well, backup plan is to try to come here and pretend to be God and his wife. So with that information, seeing as this is a representation of me, in the event that, Jaden is who she says she is, and she wants to remain with her husband to have a child, what's my recourse of action? Well, this light switch here now takes on a different meaning. It means that this switch means that the hardwood is me as the grandfather, and this switch means that grandmother is the light, because the light switch is now inside of me, because that screw is me and that hole is her. Meaning I'm the alpha and the omega. And at the same time, I'm looking for a potential new creator wave through the light switch, meaning whoever becomes that hole by me, by grandmother flowing her energy into the person that I buy my soul with, means there's going to be a light switch. Jaden will no longer have that opportunity, because in the past 10 lives, she's never selected me.